If you would, please. I want to open the meeting with a prayer and a pledge, please.
Yes, sir, Judge. Please bow your heads. Our Heavenly Father, please watch over our community, the homeless, and those who are in the hospital for a speedy recovery. Protect us from all harm. We humbly thank you for all the gifts we've received from you. We ask that you watch over all those who protect us, especially those men and women who serve in our armed forces, law enforcement, fire departments, and emergency services. We ask for your wisdom, understanding, and courage to make right decisions for all of our citizens. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner, and once again I want to welcome everyone to our January 21st, 2016 fiscal court meeting. Before we get started, I know we have a lot of distinguished guests out in the audience, but I especially want to welcome Commissioner Deborah Nunley from the Owensboro City Commission. She wears many hats, but thank you for being here. Are you ready, Jenny?
Yes, sir. Item 1, consideration for presentation A, Christmas at Panther Creek Park check presentations.
Mr. Lee.
Judge, as you've probably read in the newspaper here recently, the success at Christmas at Panther Creek this year essentially reflects a 6% increase over our numbers from the year of 2014. This year, 5 agencies were selected to be able to collect the funds from the Friday night after Thanksgiving through January 2nd. Our total this year was $9,735.77, which reflects 3,245 cars, which again was about a 6% increase over 2014. There's a lot of different stories that we've heard over the years about the fun that people have at Christmas at Panther Creek from being able to collect for those 7 nights. And with us here tonight are some agencies that will be receiving those checks, and maybe they'll have some stories they'd like to be able to share. I think last year I recall one that witnessed a wedding, a marriage proposal during one of the nights. So again, it's been a very successful year. I would encourage any agency, nonprofit in Daviess County interested in participating in the event in 2016 to be able to contact our Parks office. I'd be happy to put their name on a list so that we're able to get them an application in September. Typically, the Park Board in October will choose the 5 agencies, and we can make them aware and give them plenty of time to make preparations to get their volunteers together for December.
You might want to mention how you choose those agencies.
Very good. Essentially, as we are receiving the applications, we assign those numbers. If we were to collect 20 applications, then we would put 20 numbers in a hat. And this year, it's, I think, Carolyn Williams, which was a member of our Parks Board, drew out 5 numbers. And it's in that order that the agencies are selected. So we don't get into determining whose mission is any more powerful than the other than the fact that they're a nonprofit within Daviess County. So again, it's an excellent opportunity. This year we will be presenting checks in the amount of $973.57. And at Christmas time, we all probably realize that this extra shot in the arm goes a long way to be able to help them offset, some of the things that they'll do over the Christmas breaks and the holidays. And so again, the more cars we have to be able to come out, the more successful it is. I will note that we did have one year in 2012 where we did do over $10,000. That's kind of always the threshold for me, is to be able to get to the 10,000 mark, and I'm mighty proud of this year at 9,700, just because of the weather that we had early in the month. It was pretty warm. Then it started raining. Then we closed Wayne Bridge Road just because of the flooding. So it made it kind of difficult. But it's, again, a great program, and we've had 12 great years of success, and looking forward to our 13th.
Okay, why don't you give out the cash?
Sure. Anybody, Green River Area Down Syndrome Association, the Knights of Columbus, Oasis, Owensboro Regional Recovery. Again, Judge, I would invite anyone that would like to do that again this year or next year to be able to let us know. We'd give them an application. I will say that those agencies that collected this year have to take a year off. So the ones that we're presenting checks to tonight will not be eligible in 2016, but then again in 2017.
Ross, tell us what we do with the other half of the money so folks know.
The other half, obviously, we have the event staffed about 5 or 6 hours per night throughout those 35 nights. We also, of course, rebulb and buy new displays annually, and so it helps us to be able to replenish everything we do. The big snowflake arch is an original piece, and very fortunate to be able to have that. We're looking at about $6,800 right now to have to be able to repowder coat it and to be able to get new bulbs put in it. And so, again, there's always cost associated with operating the event, and that helps us to be able to offset some of that and to be able to keep it, operating every year.
And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't thank our friends at IBEW, the electricians who come out there and help wire the thing up and help us be more safe.
That's exactly right. It's very dangerous after dark, plugging and unplugging. So we're very thankful to have IBEW's support.
On behalf of Fiscal Court, I want to thank all the not-for-profit agencies for being there when we needed you and making Christmas just a little bit brighter, and we hope these checks will make your agencies a little brighter in what you do. Is there anyone from any of the agencies that would like to say anything?
Yeah, I would just like to say on behalf of St. Benedict's, we appreciate the opportunity to serve Daviess County. And the best part about this was not only did I get to go out there with one of the residents, but the residents got to go out there with some of our staff and volunteers and participate in an operation that helps us to keep going. So it was really good to see them be a part of. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Owensboro Regional Recovery would like to thank you all for the opportunity to be associated with this. The clients of ORR really enjoy interacting with the community, and we can surely use the funds. Thanks.
Okay. Commissioners, any comment? Okay, once again, thank you folks. Don't feel like you have to stay. You've got your pockets full of money. Go out and have fun. Jenny, next item.
Yes, sir. B, CEO Phillip Patterson to present the report to the community regarding Owensboro Health.
Mr. Patterson, welcome.
Thank
It's
you,
always fun to see you
Oh,
up at
Judge,
that. Remember
thank
what
you
I
so
told
much.
you? Remember what I told you about that mic?
Yes, sir, I do. After 2 minutes, it catches on fire.
That's right.
Or shoots it out at me anyway. Well, thank you. Again, good evening, Judge and members of the court. I appreciate you hosting us tonight.
Go out here so we can
We do have a presentation. You can look at that presentation, or you have handouts in front of you that will follow the
That'll work.
presentation, so you don't have to look at it. But everybody else here. Before I get started, I do want to recognize that some of the board members from Owensboro Health are here. Mr. Jeff Carpenter, Ms. Suzanne Blazar, Ms. Janice Sherm, and you mentioned the Debbie Nunley in her commissioner role, but she's also the board chair of Owensboro Health. So we're very proud of that. We also have two individuals, Mr. Steve Johnson and Debbie Johnson, here from our community and relations work that will help tonight. And I think Steve's going to drive for me. So with that, I just want to present a few of the facts and figures that are in the overall report that we provided to you last week. And then I want to keep it short so I don't catch on fire. But that I also want to leave time for you to ask any questions that you may have from yourself or your constituents. Owensboro Health is changing and we're growing. And at the heart of that is that we're trying to provide value. Our value equation consists of providing the best possible care at the lowest cost to the most people possible. It's how our board of directors, our physicians, and our entire staff are working to provide this care to a 14-county region that is Owensboro Health service area. In fiscal year 2015, Owensboro Health delivered value in a number of ways. We provided our reliability by improving our safety and our service even over some of the national awards and recognition levels that we had had previously. We improved access to high-quality primary and specialty care by adding more locations and services throughout the region. We created a clinically integrated network to enhance coordination of care across our system. We're striving to become a regional healthcare provider and an employer of choice. We're operating efficiently and effectively every day as we challenge ourselves so that we can reinvest in our facilities, in our employees, and also in our communities. Also recognizing that Judge Mattingly and the Fiscal Court demonstrates interest every day in higher education attainment through the Bold Promise Scholarship, the recent discussions regarding the increase in the minimum wage, let me offer what we are doing at Owensboro Health specific to these issues. We increased our wages year over year from 2014 to 2015 by $26 million to the point of making sure that our employees are at the core of what we do and realized for the importance that they are. Healthcare wages are among the highest in the country, with the lowest pay wage at our hospital at $9.50. So I wanted to let you know where we are as we continue to strive to raise that level with our employees. We also invested $1.2 million in educational reimbursement for our employees directly. And to that, we saw a 9% increase in the number of nurses that achieved their Bachelor's of Nursing degree over the last 2 years. We currently have 183 nurses at the hospital that are in the process of obtaining their bachelor degree on top of that. And we also have 22 nurses currently in master's prepared courses for nursing that are being reimbursed through our program for nursing education. So throughout the pages of the document you have in front of you, you will see how our strategic initiatives have catapulted Owensboro Health into the region's leading healthcare system. This year, we began reaching for excellence by focusing on employee engagement. We evaluated ourselves, pushed for greater results, improved communication through our organization, and implemented new technologies and new safety protocols. Because of our internal strength, we've improved quality and achieved some of the highest standards, not only in the region, but in the nation. So I'll call your attention to some of the infographics in front of you. We were named by Becker's Hospital Review as one of the best top 100 community hospitals. And why this is important to me, Judge Al, and the members to this is it doesn't only recognize our ability to provide quality and stability of healthcare across the region, but it's how we partner with our community. And I'm very proud of the way that we do that, even though we can continue to improve and invest more into our communities. We have been recognized for that partnership that we have created across our community. Second, we have achieved for the first time level 3 trauma. So now we are able to take care of the most complex injuries and emergencies that happen here in Daviess County as well as the region. We are also named this year by U.S. News and World Report as a high-performing hospital in the treatment of heart failure. We are also recognized in the top 10% of the nation for overall hospital care, again, by CareChex, a national regard organization. We also have achieved neonatal intensive care unit designated 3 NICU status, which has allowed us to take care of babies born up to 27 weeks, where previously it was only at 30 weeks. So we've been able to maintain our capabilities for those individuals who, closer to home that prior were having to go to Louisville to COSAIR. So we're very proud of that. And that is through our partnership with the University of Louisville neonatology group that is at both hospitals. So we're very proud of that work that we're doing there. Patients are at the center of the care that we provide, obviously. To give our patients and their families the best care possible, we've built programs to gain patient and family feedback more timely and more effectively. We've created tools to help navigate our health system better and more easily for them. And we've trained our teams to provide even better experiences and care for those people who seek care with us. So this will help us evaluate and constantly improve even on the numbers that we see today. Some of the key points I want to bring up on the value of service sheet are that we are now over 4,000 employees at 4,088. This puts us as the largest employer west of Louisville, as well as the largest healthcare provider west of Louisville in the state of Kentucky. We also exceeded our patient satisfaction goals this year. The health system achieved nearly a 90% patient satisfaction rating across our system. We're very proud of that, even though we continue to push for more and more, closer to 100%. We also now have over 26,700 people using MyChart. MyChart is the electronic portal portal into their own electronic medical record on our Epic system, on our electronic medical record system, which allows them to be able to see their own data, as well as help to them to have the conversations and understand better ways to keep themselves healthier. So we're pushing for people to access MyChart differently and work with us to help them receive a higher quality and work towards their own higher quality in life. We also had 10,145 individuals that have been served this past year with funding that has come in through Owensboro Health Foundation through our support programs. And these are things like Mammograms for Life, which allows us to help those individuals with little to no access to care to get those mammograms to make sure that they are staying up on their health quotient and making sure that we are determining their health factor as closely to possible. Our mission, again, is to heal the sick and improve the health of the communities that we serve. To do that, we are again expanding our One Health medical group and our ambulatory locations. We're creating a more seamless process of care between those providers also. In addition, patients are more easily connected to their care with our new technology and communication practices. Now, more than ever, people in Kentucky and Indiana are getting access to the kind of care that they need close to home. So one other piece on our second value on the purple sheet in front of you is that we now have our first satellite hospital within Owensboro Health, and that is Owensboro Health Muhlenberg Community Hospital, which has allowed us to increase the capabilities of our southern district that we serve in this 14-county area, and it proves as a great partnership for inpatient care with the regional hospital at Owensboro Health. Secondly, we see continued increased patient volume. Though most hospitals across America are still seeing declines in inpatient related admissions, we actually saw an additional 4% increase. But where most importantly and where we're excited to show is that we have seen an outpatient increase in our visits year over year of 32%. So as we continue to push out and provide those services in further locations across our region, it is translating into people seeking care through the Owensboro Health organization, so we're very proud of that. We added an additional 33 providers to our healthcare network, which means we've brought new access of care. Most of that's on the primary care side, so that more and more people can seek care at the right place at the right time, not worry about what is going to happen because they can't get into their doctor and show up at our emergency room. Lastly, I'd like to point again to our Owensboro Health Park. The Health Park community investment is more than almost $1.1 million. The Health Park Memberships Financial Assistance Program afforded 940 people to access the Health Park who could not previously do that. And we now boast a service membership of over 7,400 people using the Health Park. One thing I'd like to point out on the next one is that to the point of outpatient visits, 23,288 new patients call our primary care providers as their new providers. So we have new relationships with patients who had not previously sought care from our One Health system. So we're very proud of people choosing One Health and Owensboro Health for their care. Now I'll move into the consolidated financial statements. Patients shouldn't sacrifice high-quality care, and patient-focused services get health care at a reasonable cost. By developing programs through our clinical integration efforts, like improved coordination of care and communication systems that are more robust, we're able to better control and even reduce the care of patients reduce the cost of care for our patients. So I'd like to just call to you the sheet you have in front of us. As you can see, we have net operating revenue of about $500 million. That's on gross revenues of $1.3 billion, which is up well over last year. If you look at the expense side of that, it tallies out at $500,451,000, so it balances out as a balance sheet. The point to that you probably want to know is the part that's of the expense side that is retained for future needs, services, and debt retirement, which is basically what you would call in a for-profit business. Our net profit is $39,039,000. the EBITDA, which is what is important for us to show how we are operating as an organization, which is truly how operations operates before you get into our interest, depreciation, and amortization cost, was $71 million. To community benefit, Owensboro Health Regional Hospital is truly an economic engine for this community as well as the region. According to an economic model developed by Dr. Paul Coombs at the University of Louisville, the hospital is responsible for approximately $18.2 million in state and local revenues through the taxes we pay directly and the money generated from our employees. Nearly $2 million of that was paid in city and county occupational tax. Approximately $6.1 million of that is paid through the provider tax. Yes, I know people don't know this, but we are a not-for-profit organization, but in the state of Kentucky, we do pay a tax as a hospital to support the Medicaid system across the state. So that tax of $6.1 million is paid into the system and comes back to us as a percentage of our revenue through the Medicaid population, and we know how important that is, as it was expanded by over 25% over the last few years. But when matched with federal funds, the tax supports over $20 million in Medicaid state funding, so we're very proud of that. The state of Kentucky also received $10.1 million in income and sales tax linked to the wages and salaries of Owensboro Health Regional Hospital employees. While we are still finalizing the spending numbers that account for 2014 and 2015, in 2013, Owensboro Health Regional Hospital was responsible for generating approximately $129 million in local economic activity from the purchases that we made and by those from our employees. The purchases of goods and services from local companies by the hospital generated nearly $81.1 million in revenue. And from our employees at Owensboro Health Regional Hospital, the estimated spend is $48.3 million in local purchases. It's also important to point out that these numbers only reflect the spending by the hospital itself and not by our overall system, which includes the health park, our One Health medical group, and other outpatient services across the region. Again, before I open it up to question, I'd like to offer a sincere thank you to the board of directors, the employees, the providers and business leaders, as well as patients who seek care from us, and our community members at large who have helped us to deliver value to every patient every time. On the last page is the full slate of our volunteer board. I would like to recognize them especially because I think this is one of the most time-intensive board volunteer positions. Hospital boards are very complex. A lot of time is spent monthly. And they do so with great zeal, and they participate very readily, and I'm very proud to have all of them as my bosses. So with that, Judge Al, I'll turn it back over to you for any questions or to end before this thing blows up.
Mark, would you check that microphone? It didn't catch on fire after 2 minutes.
I was a little late.
Phillip, thank you for that report. We
That's-
certainly, all of us up here understand the tremendous value that having a local hospital provides for this, not only this community, but for the entire region. And truly the vision of becoming a regional hospital is fulfilling itself now.
Yes, sir.
So I want to thank you and thank all the board members who came and some of the staff that's with you. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments?
I have one curiosity question.
Yes, sir.
Is the, you were talking about the uncollectibles, $806 million.
Yes, sir.
Is that trending up or is it trending down?
You are referring to the community benefit page. I apologize. I didn't go through that in detail as I
Consolidated
should.
financial statement.
Oh, the financial statement. Okay. Yep.
And there's a line there that said less charges which we cannot collect.
Yeah, that's bad debt, basically, as any organization would have. Those are bills that are payable that are not collected. And how those are different than charity is charity care in the hospital world is those funds that are expended in which no financial means is collectible. Bad debt is obviously those that are there that are go unpaid. Where I will talk about that is the shift between uncompensated care, meaning those individuals who have no access to payment, that has gone down recently. If you turn to that next page, that benefits to the underprivileged is at $3.6 million. Those are individuals not covered by Medicaid or any other payment source. So that's that part of it. The other large increase that we've seen lately is with the large deductible plans that have been carried out under the exchange program, under the ACA, the Accountable Care Act. Many families today are burdened with large first payment deductibles, which means that their insurance will not pay the first dime to the healthcare provider, whether it's us or a physician or any other provider, until that deductible is met. And those high-paid deductibles can range from anywhere from $1,000 or $2,500 all the way up to some individual family plans are at $13,000 deductible up front. So they are substantial. The other thing on the Medicaid shortfall that I will point out, everybody, says, should that not have gone down because of the amount of Medicaid coverage now we do? And that number has gone down. But what we have to remember is that government payers such as Medicare and Medicaid do not pay us fully what our cost is. Annually, we are expected to be audited externally by an external auditing company. They then submit with us a report to the federal government, and on that is what is based our payments from Medicare and Medicaid. Medicare pays us at a percentage based on inpatient and outpatient of our dollar spend. So basically for every dollar paid based on the budget for Medicare that year, we get X percentage of the dollar spent. So they never pay us what our true cost is. Not what we charge, but what our cost is as an organization. Medicaid this past year paid us at 57 cents on the dollar, so they pay us about 57% of our total cost for taking care of Medicaid individuals. So it's still a significant burden for us. The rest of it seems to be pretty straightforward right there. Thank you for the question. I apologize.
I just want to thank you and your board. You're a great leader, but you got to have a strong board behind you to make the success. I know that your employment will grow over 4,000 in the future, and to get that growth of 4%, sometimes we look at 3% looking really good, but 4% is just a lot there. So thank you for the great report.
No, thank you very much. As I said, most hospitals across America now are actually seeing their inpatient admissions drop, and they're scrambling to try and figure out how to cover a bottom line. And we've seen some tremendous growth, and to have 4% growth on an inpatient basis at the hospital is tremendous. But that 32% increase on the outpatient visit side is really tremendous and shows the stability of the organization, as well as the leadership of the board that you recognized, and their recognition that we had to be a stronger system around our hospital to make it stronger. And that is coordinating with the locations and the additional providers that we've brought in. That is specific to the numbers and the growth on the outpatient side.
I think it was a very nice strategic move when you decide as a regional hospital you needed to have a feeder system out in that region.
Absolutely.
And that's what's accounting for a lot of that. So any other questions? All right. Yes, ma'am. Come ahead. You're welcome, but that the microphone's about to go off. You need to come up, Commissioner. We're not going to let you get. Oh.
And you can explain the program, but this is a good audience, and you're televised, to let people know that we do have capabilities at the hospital to work with some of the patients who cannot afford the care and who cannot afford this high deductible. Mm-hmm.
We do.
Based on their income. So.
You did bring that up. I was gonna, if a question came up about those high deductibles, I do have some statistics for that. I'll try to keep my comments brief, Judge Al. We actually, through the board's leadership and suggestion of the leadership at the hospital, have revised our charity assistance program. And I would say that it is probably one of the richest ones in the state now as we got that. But basically what we have allowed is that we fully allow a charity write-off for any family that has income less than 225% of the legal poverty level, 100% write-off of all their expected payments out of pocket. We also have a sliding scale of assistance that allows for write-offs between that level of 225 up to 375% of the poverty level will get an eligibility of a 70% write-off. So to that point, to put it more into perspective, a family of four with a household income of less than $90,900 is eligible for 70% assistance from the hospital. So we are continuing to realize our mission. It is to help heal the community. And when people are financially strapped and not sure how to really make the medical expense cost fit in their family structure, this board has taken upon itself to live its mission more and return that into the community and say we're going to help those who are most marginalized by their financial circumstances in this community. So I proudly do work for those 14 board members, and I'm proud to be here in front of you and as a representative of them tonight.
Phillip, thanks for being here. Thanks for that report.
Thanks,
Yes,
Judge Al.
I want to follow up with what you just said.
Yes, sir.
I know the hospital has acquired a number of physicians, operations, and different. They're either owned by the hospital now or partially owned by the hospital.
Yes, sir.
Do these things, what you were just talking about, does that roll over to services that those offices may provide as well?
Absolutely.
Or
It is
strictly
under the
hospital?
umbrella. It's under the umbrella of Owensboro Health, the actual system. So all of that is under our charity policy. Yes, sir.
I appreciate you sharing that with us because I didn't have a clue.
No problem. Yeah, no, that's a great thing. And unfortunately, we tend to reserve that for people who call in, or when people do seek care with us, we do have financial people who speak to them as they are exiting. And if they fall into these criteria, we do have that conversation to say, look, we can help you with this, and we will help you with this. It's our obligation as a community hospital. But you're right, we probably should put it out there more readily for the community to understand what that means.
Well, I just know that with as you said, and I think Debbie's the one that broached the topic, so many individuals have the really high deductible plans now.
Absolutely.
And it's, I mean, the translation is almost like not having any insurance. And I mean, I understand it's supposed to be for catastrophic
Yes.
situations, but for a lot of people, they're barely getting by, and when they have those deductibles, it's anyway. So thank you, and
Yeah,
to the
no, we
board,
need-
thank you. Whoever came up with that idea, I appreciate it.
No, thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because I think we do have a service to be able to make sure that those people can maintain their lifestyle.
Okay. Anything else? Phillip, once again, thank you, your board members, and no, Debbie, you don't have to stay. You folks can get up and leave. Now, you do the same courtesy when I come to a city commission.
Item 2, consideration for approval, minutes of the January 7, 2016 court meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioners, I have a motion and a second. You've had a copy of the minutes in your packet for some time. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Again, Commissioners, you've had a copy of all the bills due and payable in your packet for some time. Do you have any questions of the treasurer? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
C, Detention Center's contract modification regarding a SAP Inmate Increase.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, this is a request that we sign off on the modification of a contract that the Detention Center has to provide a substance abuse program. The contract will go from 50, it will have an additional 25 beds. It'll go from 55 to 80 beds. And there is an increase from $181,000 to $215,000. Any question or comment? Yes, sir.
I'm just glad that the state, and I think this is with the state, I'm glad
Yes.
they're agreeing to allow us to have more of their inmates in that program, because I think it's a beneficial program.
Commissioner, I agree with you. I think you and I have been, and perhaps commissioners, the other commissioners have been to some of those graduation programs that are truly life-changing.
Yes.
Any other question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
D, Resolution 1, 2016, adopting the 2016 Grad Hazardous Mitigation Plan.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Who's going to handle this?
Carl Sims.
Oh, there you go. Carl, I didn't see you out there.
No, I was hiding in the back. What you have before you is the resolution to adopt the hazard mitigation plan. This is required by FEMA in order for the county to be eligible for the hazard mitigation grant program, the pre-disaster mitigation program, and then the flood mitigation assistance program. It's part of the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. So this is part of that 5-year update. So we just got FEMA approval from that a couple weeks back. So this is the last part we need in order to be approved through 2021. And it'll continue to make the county eligible again for those programs. Within the plan itself, it details the risk assessment for the county, so that includes all the hazards that it may face, including earthquakes, winter storms, and flooding. It also has a mitigation strategy section, which provides the goals and objectives to mitigate for those hazards, as well as the projects that you specify within the plan, of which may be eligible for FEMA funding. So that plan will be available at the Daviess County Public Library, the physical copy, and then we also have a digital copy available on the GRAD Hazard Mitigation website.
Any major changes in what we have been doing that you know of?
No, it's essentially the same as updating our project list, updating the data that's located within the risk assessment, just incorporating everything from the past 5 years within the plan.
Okay. Commissioners, question or comment? Question or comment by the public? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
E, apply for the Kentucky Ambulance Block Grant Program.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion second. Mr. Hendricks, do you want to talk to us about this?
Gentlemen, this is an annual grant we've done ever since I've been here, where the court applies for this grant through the Kentucky Ambulance Block Grant Program on behalf of Yellow Ambulance. I think typically the annual grant will be around $10,000, so I'd recommend approval.
Question or comment by the commission? Question or comment by the public? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
E, apply for the, F, award bid number 49, 2015, Community Notification Siren, EMA.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge. The fiscal court received only one bid regarding bid number 49, 2015. The bid of Safer Services Incorporated out of Lexington, Kentucky is the only bid submitted. It met all bid specifications without exception. It is our recommendation to award bid number 49, 2015 to Safer Services Incorporated in the amount of $17,627.51. It should be noted that all expenses associated with this bid and procurement will be reimbursed by a grant that was secured on the authority of Resolution 8, 2015, and the siren is to be installed at Yelvington.
Where is it going to be installed? John?
The exact location.
Yelvington. Okay. Question or comment by the commission? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
G, promote Jerry Ambs to heavy equipment operator in the Department of Public Works effective 1/25/16.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any question or comment, commissioners? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
3, ordinances. A, first reading of Ordinance 1, 2016, and ordinance relating to property maintenance.
Okay, commissioners, tonight is the first reading of an ordinance that actually began preparation and input from the public all the way back into May. I think, Commissioner, was when you had your first
That's correct.
committee meeting. We appointed a committee of folks from West, Central, East Daviess County, as well as a representative from Farm Bureau. We had 5 public meetings. We actually had 6, but the 6th one we didn't have enough people to show up. 5 public meetings. We had folks come to those public meetings, give us their input. Then all of us met with the Farm Bureau on their legislative day. We also had another hearing here at Fiscal Court regarding the property maintenance code. We then had a public hearing after our last meeting. Had about 50 folks here. Had several questions. We had input by email. We had phone calls. We had folks come and visit us and talk to us when we were out. We had, I would say, 5 iterations of
That's right.
the property maintenance code, from the one that was presented to us by the Property Maintenance Committee. We've done our homework. Commissioner Castle, I want to thank you and your property maintenance committee for all the hard work that you've done. I want to thank all the public for all the questions and making us think hard about this. And I want to just read, I think we have a product before you that is fair and balanced. It will not satisfy everyone in this community. Probably doesn't satisfy everyone that's sitting out here in the audience. But let me just read you a quote from someone who attended the meeting 2 weeks ago, who came in and was not happy, but he went home and said, "Hats off to Daviess County Fiscal Court. Thank you for listening to input, making changes, and bringing forward an ordinance that will be less restrictive, yet more effective for the community as a whole." And I think that sums up exactly what we tried to do in this ordinance. I know that the agricultural community was concerned about what may happen, and the charge that I gave to Commissioner Castlin and his committee, and the thing that this entire fiscal court said was we don't want to do any harm to our agricultural operations. So we bring this before you as an ordinance. I'm first going to ask if any of the county commissioners have any comment. Then I will take comment from the public. If you wish, please come to the podium, identify yourself by name and address. So Commissioner Castlin, since you were in charge of this committee, do you have any comments?
I do not. I don't have anything to speak to the ordinance, but to the process. I do want people to know that we probably had anywhere from 35 to 50 people came to speak in support of strengthening our ordinance, mainly out of frustration for with what they were dealing next door to their homes, and practically begging us to move as fast as we could and to be, helpful to them, and certainly, as you said, Judge, we certainly respect the contribution that agriculture makes to our community and to the livelihood of many in our community, and so we certainly didn't want to do any harm to them. I think I was very pleased with the and the committee members were there was a lot of give and take. We weren't one-sided, and there were several pieces that we told Claude, hey, can't we do a little better than this? We don't like the verbiage in this, and we did a lot of rewrites. So when you say there were 5 variations, that's after the committee was done.
Right.
But as we were going through our work, there was a new variation every meeting, and so we took it seriously, and at the very beginning, we only had one farmer that came in and asked us to be careful with what we did, and be aware of the impact we would have on agriculture. And again, I think we've done that. I too want to thank the community for the feedback we've gotten. We put it on our website for 30 days. Went largely unnoticed until somebody in a neighboring county was kind enough to bring it to everybody's attention. And we got a lot of feedback at that point, and I don't mind that happened. I wish his premise had been a little less critical. What did you say? Confrontational, yes. But beyond that, I was glad that it got people to pay attention. Anyway, that's all I have.
Commissioners, any comments down on this end?
Well, the comment is, which I didn't realize myself, about 90 to 92% of this ordinance was actually created in the year of 2000. So all this has already been in place, and I think a lot of being able to understand that people is just some of the people in the community doesn't understand, and I feel like that the judge and Charlie and others have tried to explain it, and Claude as well, the best that they could. So just to bring that out.
Commissioner?
I'll just mention that this ordinance, much like the one we did on the animal control, it brings about a lot of issues that makes us think about, and it's very difficult, I think, for us, and I know specifically for myself, when we started adding rules and regulations and different things like that, because it concerns us that anytime we add a regulation, we run the potential of taking something away from someone else. But I think we've really taken all that into consideration. We've balanced this thing as the best we could, and you know, everything in here is not perfect, and everything's not going to make everybody happy. But all in all, there's a few things in there that concern me. But all in all, I think we have a good ordinance and something that will improve the county, and that's what we were after.
Commissioner, I appreciate that comment, because we up here have not agreed on everything that was in the ordinance. We read it a little differently, but what we try to do was present an ordinance to the public that is balanced as far as the court is concerned, and it's something that we can all support. And we all had input. But I think one of the best comments that I heard, and we failed to say that tonight, the old ordinance that was the latest ordinance that we had was created back in 2000, and actually it was amended in 2000. That ordinance existed prior to that. And we actually have 4 ordinances that we combine into one, I think. Isn't that correct, Claude? Okay. So there was no one place that you could go and read the entire ordinance. Now you can. But all of those old ordinances were a little bit confusing. And as an example, one might say you can't have tall grass. Well, tall grass to one person may be 12 inches. To somebody who lives next to a golf course, it might be 2 inches. So we defined it, and we tried to put it in a format so that if 5 folks out here read a section of it, all 5 would come to the same meaning or same conclusion. We tried to make it less confusing. So with that, I've spoken enough. I know there are folks out here who would like to speak or perhaps have questions. So again, I would invite you to the podium. Please state your name and your address. I would ask that you be respectful of your neighbors. If your question happens to be asked and is answered, then we really don't need to ask it again. But as I said the other night, Commissioner Caslen is quite willing to stay here till the snow starts in the morning and answer any of your questions that he can. Right, Commissioner?
I'll be glad.
Okay. Who wants to start us off? Folks, if you don't have any questions, yes, sir?
I wonder if everybody's got a copy.
Well, and I think they have. If you don't have a copy, we do have some copies over here. If there are not enough, so that if you happen to not ask a question this evening, if you come up with a question, you're certainly welcome to call us, and we will have a second reading at our first meeting in February, and we will again take questions then. So
thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir.
And board. My name is Larry Martin. I live in the community of Pettit. I've lived there 46 years. Back in 2011, I got tired of my neighbor's mess there in the Pettit community, and I started trying to get him to clean it up. Not put him out of business, but get him to clean up the mess that was there. And I was able to get one farm truck that was loaded with garbage working through the solid waste people out there. I was able to get that one truck moved, and working with the zoning board over there, Matt Warren, I think we've actually made everything a little bit worse, because he did away with all the landscaping. He's got 4 buildings, and every one of them is full with just a walk area to get in there. But parked outside next to the pavement, we've got a 1-ton utility truck. We've got a cargo van, 2 pickup trucks, 1 heavy-duty forklift, one heavy-duty air compressor, 2-wheeled box trailers loaded with lumber and roofing, 2 heavy-duty construction trailers loaded, 3 light-duty utility trailers loaded, 2 box truck beds all loaded sitting on the ground, 2 metal carports filled up, 6 piles of loose lumber, 1 pile of wooden fencing, 12 piles of roofing, 1 pile of sawed tree trunks, and 2+ piles of trash. Now, I'm not out to put this young man out of business. I want him to clean up the mess, because my $150,000 house at present, with that mess within 500 feet, is worth about half.
Well, Ms. Martin, let me ask you this. What's your question about the proposed ordinance? Do you have a question regarding that? Because what your statement, and we
Okay.
take that under
Yes,
advisement, would be one that should go to the solid waste coordinator.
Okay, we're working with Matt Warren. He took him all the way in front of a judge.
Okay.
And I asked Matt one day, I said, we've got a decent ordinance, but it has no teeth in it. And he did admit to me that that was correct. In reading the new one, I think we stand to clean up some of the mess that I have mentioned.
And you may be right. I think the ordinance that he was talking about was the zoning ordinance regarding commercial buildings and what you can and can't do there, as opposed to this ordinance, because that's where Matt Warren is located, and that's what he would have had purview over.
Right.
Certainly, again, this ordinance requires that you make a complaint to the solid waste coordinator. We don't take anonymous complaints. You would have to go out, and you've been through that, and he will certainly be happy to take a look at it. So if your question is this a better ordinance than what we had before? I think it is.
I hope so.
I think
Yes,
it
sir.
is. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir.
That brings up a good point that I want to mention that we hadn't mentioned, I think, is the fact that this is complaint driven.
Yes.
So we're not going to go out and police any neighborhoods or anything like that, but if someone complains, we could go. So, you know, if you, as the judge said, register a complaint, and he'll go look at it based on the new ordinance after we pass it.
Right.
Next. Don't be bashful, folks. We're not going to bite. I'm not going to throw anything at you, and I'm not going to, well, we're just not. We, believe it or not, we do. We want your comment. We appreciate it, because it's not our ordinance. It's the community's ordinance, and we absolutely want the community's input. We're not like a lot of folks that you see in government who mimic that they want to hear what you have to say and then don't listen. Because I can tell you, this ordinance, a lot of those changes that we have made have been a result of questions or comments. So, okay, I knew it every time, doggone it. By the way, you did a very good job at the Martin Luther King celebration.
Thank you very much.
Both of you.
I had a good partner in crime.
Yeah, but I liked you better. I didn't say that, but you're right.
I want to compliment all of you and thank you very much for your diligence and for listening to us. It's very, very appreciated, and we hope to see some big improvements. And I liked your comment that we're not out to get anyone, but this is a process. You know, we're not looking for people in neighborhoods to that want to improve a situation to make comments. So just so I could be clear on the process, as this ordinance stands now, which I've been listening to everyone, so I admit I have not read all the way through this. What is the process now in a neighborhood if several neighbors have a complaint about a property.
It would
but
be no different than in the past. You would notify the solid waste coordinator of your complaint. Now, you certainly may notify, as folks have done in the past, notify your commissioner in that district. And they don't even have to be from your district. Any of these commissioners will take a call and make sure it gets resolved, or make sure it goes through the process. You certainly are welcome to call me. You have my phone number here, my cell phone, my home phone number. I'm used to taking calls at any time. I'm quite willing to do that. I'm not bashful about it. I think I absolutely will come and visit pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
So
We
you would go
appreciate
through the
that.
same process. I think what you'll find is now that we have defined better what you can and can't do on your property, that we will be able to resolve those issues a lot quicker. So
One of the things I did read.
Yes, Judge, I just remind
Yes.
you that once they cannot just call in a complaint.
Yes.
The complaint will have to be verified, written and verified.
Yes, that's true.
We'll have a form that will be provided so that you can complete those. I don't know whether it will be, but I hope maybe we can provide that so it will be online, but it would need to be signed.
Okay, so once this is passed, there will be a form online that could be accessed?
I think so, yes.
Yes, there will be, won't there, Jenny? That's what I thought. So yes, there will be a form on.
And so first, it would be a phone call, and then, or it could be filling out a form online and sending it in, or?
If you wanted to involve a commissioner, you certainly could do that. You may have a question. I don't know, I don't like the looks of this. Would you come and look at it? And we have done that. Myself and all of the commissioners have done that in the past. And, sometimes because of the lack of definition, we've gone, I don't know. We'll have to, and the final arbiter of that will be the gentleman right down there on the end. Now, actually, we forgot one very important process that's in here is the appeals committee. There will be a committee of peers, one from the east, west, and central districts, plus one from Farm Bureau to represent agricultural interests. And you are the person that the complaint's filed on. If they think it's unreasonable, they can appeal to that board. And the board's decision is final unless they found against you, and you certainly then have the right to go to circuit court. So there is a whole added step before you even have to get the court system and lawyers involved, where many times we get complaints and people want us to solve them. We're not attorneys, but they don't want to hire an attorney because it's costly. This way, there is
It's better for everyone that way.
There's a way for
I
it.
especially wanted to thank you for your interest in just public health and safety,
Yes.
especially for minors. And I saw some things talking about that in this
Yes.
document, which I really appreciate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Remember that the fire hasn't come out of that microphone yet,
it's
and it may come out just any time.
I think this should be recommended in the Capitol.
Okay.
Anyway,
and who are you?
I'm
Mr.
James-
Handsome is not.
I'm sorry.
proper.
I'm not handsome. James White, aging every day. 1000 Southgate Drive. Okay. I think I'm supposed to give my address. The thought went through my mind in reporting something that you think is a problem. I would want to have some advice as to not complete anonymity, but safety feature of someone not retaliating and meeting you one night with a weapon or something, or being threatening. So when you go to report something like this, I would need a little advice as to how to make sure that I protect myself and my spouse.
I think there are two ways. One is, depending on how it's reported initially, if the solid waste coordinator were to go out and just view it and say, would you come and look at this piece of property or this situation, the coordinator on that review, because it has been complaint driven, may be able to file one himself.
Okay.
The other is
the commissioners have on occasion. If you talk to a commissioner and they believe that that's a problem, they may be able to and may be willing, not be able to, may be willing to file that complaint. The third is if there's usually we start with the lowest level, which is a letter to that person reminding them that there are certain consequences for behaviors and reminding them what those consequences are if the behaviors continue. Sometimes that works. If that doesn't work, we have the legal process which would provide them
Good advice.
We remind them to come into court. We send them a notice or summons, and the sheriff serves it, and they're required to come into court to answer for the behavior.
Thank you. Good. Thank you so much.
We won't tell them who registered the complaint.
Okay.
We can, that's private
Good.
information.
That helps. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Jenny, when's our next meeting?
February 8th.
February 8th, 5 o'clock, correct?
Monday.
It's
Say
on a Monday, February 8th, 5 o'clock on a Monday. That will be the second reading of this ordinance. Once again, we will afford anyone an opportunity to speak. And certainly if, as I said, in the next 2 weeks, if something comes up, a question, a comment, if this is the first time you've seen it, I hope it's not, and you want to have a question answered, any of these commissioners, I'm here. Jenny, if we're not, she'll get the message to us, and you have other ways to contact me. So there are no other questions. Jenny, next.
B, first reading of Ordinance 2, 2016, an ordinance relating to the Daviess County road, bridge, and street system.
This is a first reading. Mr. Brasher, tell me what you're doing. What is this? You look like a deer caught in a snowstorm.
Thought you called me Commissioner Brasher.
I didn't. I said Mr. Brasher.
Mr. Brasher.
I wouldn't insult the commissioner.
This time every year, I try to bring the road and street index to fiscal court for adoption. It reflects the changes that have occurred over the past year, changes, additions, corrections. If you'll look at the document, those items in red are the changes. The vast majority of these are the additions of the streets in the Summit community, which we approved over the summer. The rest of them are either errors that we found throughout the year or additions from growing subdivisions.
We took the streets in the Summit over at their request after they had brought those streets up to county standards.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioners, any question or comment? Okay. Next item, Jenny.
Number 4, consideration for discussion, A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Do I have any?
We have 3 items. The first one is approval to advertise for seasonal employees at the Parks Department.
Okay. Folks, if you don't want to stay for any of this, you're welcome to leave now, and thank you for coming. If you want to stay here and beat Charlie up after the meeting, you're welcome to stay.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
I move to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second. These are seasonal employees. This is something that we do every year at this time. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And by the way, we're just advertising. We're not hiring. Okay. Next item.
Approval of the order of affiliation with the Daviess County Search and Rescue.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion second. John, I knew you were back here somewhere. You're going to have to move off to the side of Don. You're hard to see.
Part of my stealth plan. The agreement that was sent out to you last evening, it's an annual renewal. It simply allows the search and rescue team to work in conjunction with Daviess County in an official capacity, and it's the same one that we used last year. We made some additions to that, some deletions so that it was more specific in nature. Areas such as the not participating in things that are more law enforcement driven, such as hostage rescue, or engaged in confined space rescue, which is a fire service, a USAR function. Those were the wording changes that were made last year, and it was adopted. The difference is Andy Ball's signature block is on there instead of Richard Payne, and the date.
Okay. Question or comment by the commission? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. John, while I've got you up there, would you give the public an update on the storm that's coming?
Be happy to. The National Weather Service sent out an updated slide brief at 4:45 this afternoon, just before we began here, concerning the incoming weather. It appears at this time, based on their best projections, and they're allowed to be wrong most of the time, that between 0300 and 600 hours tomorrow morning, we should see snowfall beginning. It should be primarily, according to them, for us, a snowfall event, anywhere between 2 to 6 inches, depending on where you live in the county. The northwestern areas of the county should see less. The southeastern portions of the county should see more, based on the line as they're projecting it right now. The freezing rain and sleet that they were concerned about, they don't believe it will reach up into our area at all now. So we hope they're right this time.
Okay. Thank you, John. And
yes, sir.
I know that you're urging everyone out there to be safe.
Absolutely. If you don't need to be out on the roads, don't be out on the roads till Mark and his crew can get them cleared off for you.
John, what are they saying about the winds?
I'm sorry?
The winds?
We are out of the wind pocket. The wind pocket will be to our west, and they're actually, for those folks that would need to travel to the western part of the state, to the Paducah area and beyond, they're actually calling for blizzard-like conditions because of the wind, 25, 35 mile an hour. But we are completely out of that pocket, as is most of Henderson County and so forth. So we should be fairly safe there.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions for John? Thank you, John.
Executive to sign a Kentucky Libraries and Archives grant application for microfilming in the Daviess County Clerk's office.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second. I
have a motion and second. Commissioners, this comes to us from the clerk's office. They have an opportunity to get a $24,000 grant for microfilming deeds and other documents in the proper environment. Question or comment? Yes, sir.
How do they know they'll last 500 years?
I think that from the looks of Richard last night or the other day, he's been in the proper environment. Any other relevant question? There being Charlie, did you catch that green snake running across under here? All right. There being no other questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Public comments.
Okay, this is the time during our meeting in which we ask the public to come forward, identify themselves, and you are welcome to speak on any item other than what was on the agenda tonight. Any takers? Everybody's waiting for the snow. Next item. Commissioners, before I ask you for your comments, I had a gentleman contact me. He's an East County resident, Michael Mountain, and he asked me to read this following letter into the record. He says, "Hello, my name is J. Michael Mountain. My wife, Mary Ann, and I live at 154 Boothfield Road in Daviess County." He's not in the east of Daviess County, is he? "When we left our house on Thursday, January 7, 2016, we had no idea the change that would happen in our lives. As you are aware, at approximately 12:01 p.m., an intruder broke into our house. Thanks to the alert and timely notification from our neighbor, my wife was alerted to the break-in. Both our neighbor and my wife know Owensboro Police and Kentucky State Police responded to the call and quickly began a foot pursuit of the individual. Within minutes, the law enforcement agencies found the individual and attempted to apprehend him. While my wife and I are extremely appreciative of the work of all the law enforcement officers, we would like to express our gratitude to Deputy Spurrier and his father, Detective Spurrier. These two individuals worked closely with our family as we went through the process of reviewing the outside and inside of our house after the initial situation was concluded. They made sure we were comfortable and expressed sincere concern for our well-being. At this time in our country, there has been a lot of media coverage that portray our law enforcement officers in a negative manner. We want everyone to know that was definitely not the case in our situation. We want to express our gratitude to all the officers, dispatchers, and any other first responders that answered the call on the afternoon of January 7th, 2016. Your efforts will always be appreciated. And I want to thank Mr. Mountain for that letter. It's very seldom that we receive compliments. Most of the time when we get letters or comments, they're in the negative. And Sheriff Kane, Deputy, if you would pass, we want to thank you and all the folks in the Sheriff's Department, as well as all those folks in OPD and the state police for their efforts in avoiding what for this family could have been a very dangerous situation. Commissioner Castlin.
I just want to piggyback on that. I sat in with the sheriff and his staff when they were talking about that a little bit. Paul Nave pointed out that the repeater that we got at the on the tower there at Overstreet Road was critical as far as yes, as far as allowing them to communicate with one another with the radio.
Good.
The only thing I have is Sharon Biker with the Whitesville Lions Club called and said that their fish fry for Friday night had been canceled. There, if you like, but
maybe Sharon could send us the fish. Commissioner Wathen.
I just, because of the snow, the one we had and one coming, I just want to make sure that we all remember to thank our road department for the great job they did and the great job they're going to do.
Okay.
Pass that on. Thank you.
Commissioner Coger.
I agree with Commissioner Wathen. I was going to say the same thing. Just be safe and do the best. Thank you.
Mark, I want to echo that as well. I've had several calls today talking about how the county roads, what great shape they were in. So thank the crews. I know they worked long hours the other night, and they're going to work some long hours tomorrow and tomorrow evening as well. I want to let everyone know that I spent several hours in Frankfort today. David Smith and I and Joanna Shake from GRAD talking to folks from the Department of Local Government, from the Division of Water, and from KIA regarding our Cedar Hills treatment plant and our Friendly Village treatment plant. I think we have a path now that we can plan